Hey, welcome to ClankTV. This is the place where we're going to find solutions, not problems. We already have problems. We need solutions. One of the problems that we have is homelessness, or some people want to change the word into houselessness. Basically, you don't have a place to live. That's what it means. And you have a place to live, but it's not a ideal place to live. So what are we doing here? It's a big issue. And in other videos, I talked about why the problem is in conflict with a lot of the solutions out there, because they're not solutions. They are actually help. They're helping the homelessness. They're helping them be more comfortable as a homeless. They want them to have better amenities as a homeless person. But we're not really resolving the homeless issue. In not this video, but another video, we'll talk about why when you are homeless and they just give you housing, it doesn't resolve the homelessness issue. Now you're homeless inside a house. See, it's here. But we're not talking about that here. We're going to talk about something simple that we can do as a society, as states, as the federal government, as cities. And it's already in the law, it's already in the books. It's simple. It's no one under 18 should be homeless. Simple. Sounds like it makes sense. No one under 18 should be homeless. Now, not because they want to, it just should be prohibited. If you're under 18, you should not be sleeping in the street. If you have a place to stay, you need to go to that place to stay. Now, we'll talk about more why this is a complex issue, as simple as it seems. So we know that 18-year-olds can't do a lot of things. They're not legal adults. Now, 18-year-olds are, even if they're 18, they still are not necessarily adults here. But let's go to the younger versions, right? Let's start even younger. Would you let a 3-year-old just roam the streets, just get out of your home and run around parking lots? A toddler just gonna just cross the street whenever they want. Would a parent, a parent with the with the right sense, let a toddler just roam the streets, just forage for food, cross the street, live in tents on their own? No, you would not. And actually, you probably end up in a lot of trouble if you let your kids do that and they're 3 and they're out there roaming the streets on their own. Um, so that's in the law. That's neglect. I mean, you're neglecting that child. Okay, so let's go here. When is a good time? What's a good age? It's 5, all right, to let them roam the street. 7. I mean, you just want to get to a certain age that it's okay to let your kids just roam the streets freely and do whatever they want. 12, 11, 12. Is that good? 13, 14, 15, 16. What's the age that it's like, you know what? You're this age. As a parent, I'm just washing my hands off of you and you just go do whatever you want. We know it's not a 3-year-old. Should it be a 17-year-old? 18? Well, it's a question that is not meant to be answered, because it's a question to be to make ridicule of the fact that we won't allow a 3-year-old roam the streets on their own, but we will allow a 13-year-old and a 14-year-old to roam the streets. And that's where the problem begins. Not all of the problem. This does not solve all of homelessness, but this is a critical part of the problem, because you let a 13-year-old, 14-year-old be homeless and they're out there, and police don't do much. Parents obviously are not doing much. Maybe they ran away. Still, They're out there, 13 or 14-year-olds living in tents with 40-year-olds. Why it's that okay? Why is that okay? Whether from the parent perspective, from the enforcement perspective, from the legal perspective, from why is it okay? It's not. Yet it's happening. Why? We have the laws to make sure that doesn't happen. We have everything. Why does it happen? Well, I'll tell you this, it's because we believe that freedom goes in front of responsibility. That's what, like, our freedom of speech is above responsibility. Our freedom to whatever, free expression, whatever, goes in front of responsibility. And I'm not a advocate that it goes in front or behind. I think it goes hand in hand. With that freedom comes some responsibility. These kids are kids. They don't have that freedom because that toddler does not have the freedom to go out in the street and go clubbing. It doesn't make sense. They don't have that freedom. We as a parent have a responsibility to make sure that kid is safe and that kid has a place to live and eat. If not, you're going to be in trouble with the law. And they probably take that kid away from you. You might even end up in jail. So if we have that for certain ages, when do we stop? And we need to stop stopping. That's my whole point of this argument. If you're under 18, you should not be in the streets. Now, I'm going to add another point because I know just on this part, some people are going to say, well, if they run away or if they, no, there is no if anything. This is where this next part comes in. If your child is under 18 and they're out there in the streets, if they're homeless, you get in trouble. I'm going to put trouble not to start uh, talking about policies or what is trouble or jail or penalties. If your child is under 18 and it's your kid, you're in trouble. Just like if your toddler is 2 and under, you get in trouble. If they're under 18, it doesn't stop. You're still in trouble. So where do we go from here? Now, people are going to say, well, my kid, is not a kid. He's 16 and he ran away. I don't know where, I have no idea where he is. It's like, well, go get him. Go find him. Go find him. Because why do I got to find them? Why do my tax dollar has have to pay for a kid that I don't even know? At least that's your kid. So if you have some expense and some inconvenience in going to rescue your kid, that's okay. Now, why do I have to rescue your kid? Because now your kid is out there breaking into cars, stealing stuff. They're hungry. They're stealing food. They're out there perhaps even doing drugs, being part of a sex ring. And now the taxpayer money is going to go towards that kid's well-being when really it's your kid. It's your kid. Nobody in society asks you to have your kid. So society shouldn't have to pay for your kid, their deeds, their well-being. It's your kid. Yes, he ran away. Yes, he was with bad friends. I don't care. You should care. And the fact that you're not looking for that kid that's missing nonstop, you need to quit your job and go look for your kid because society does not owe you anything or your kid anything, right? Because now that kid is breaking into my car and I'm losing my property. And now it's an inconvenience for everyone. And who's going to pay for that? I am. So I have to pay for your irresponsibility. That's another thing. Okay, so a couple of things on how we prove that someone is the parent, because people are going to say, hey, that's not my kid out there in the street. And basically is DNA. just like we do it now. We go, hey, Maury, you are the parent, right? So he's the parent, you're the mom. You guys got to take care of that kid that's out there in the street. And then some of the penalties that can come from this. I mean, you're talking about anything from fines, definitely restitution for anything that any problems they get into, but also even jail time. I think if you have to be responsible enough that your kid is probably more dangerous than a car, because your kid can get in a car and kill someone. The car by itself is not going to do anything, but yet you had the responsibility of that car. And if you do something in that car, then obviously you could go to jail. A lot of things can happen, but the kid is almost like it's not as important as the car. You don't need to have insurance for your kid, right? It's like, whatever it does, whatever it does. And we got to change that mentality. Another thing about the DNA. So let's say the mom and dad, they died. There's the mom and dad. There's always a grandma, there's always an uncle, there's always a cousin, there's always someone is there, someone has the DNA. And you say, well, it's not fair that my cousin or my uncle is out there doing crazy stuff and now I have to pay. Yes, you are responsible for anything that people with your DNA does. Why? Because someone has to be. How fair is it that you don't think it's fair that you have to take care of people with your DNA, like your uncle or your cousin, but that society that we have to? I'm not even related to them. I don't have their DNA. Now I have to pay for whatever they do. Now services need to be rendered to these people that your family abandoned. We need to put responsibility on the families. We need to put responsibilities on the parents and in the community in general. Because as soon as you start expanding that DNA, and maybe there are limits. It's like, well, the DNA has to be whatever percentage, whatever that. We're not talking specifics. We're talking about the concept of DNA takes care of DNA, and if your DNA causes damages, you pay for it. And if you don't like that, why should society, why should we like it? If you don't want to be responsible for people in your bloodline, why should someone that lives 10,000 miles away be responsible for them? So basically here, this is just a outside the box solution. It's just a proposal. It's a very small niche of the whole homeless problem. So, we're talking about no 18-year-old or no minor should be out there homeless. Simple. The books already have the laws in place to take care of this. And these are just small solutions that we can start implementing as a city, as a community, as a state, as a country, and then start slowly winding off the industry of homelessness. We need to stop making homeless comfortable. That's all we're doing. We're giving them better tents. We're giving them better needles to do drugs. We're giving them uh, 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 jackets. We're giving them ways that they can be homeless better. We're not helping them. We are enabling them to be more comfortable in their homeless situation so that we can feel better about, oh, we're helping them. We're not helping them. You fed that man one day. You helped him one time. You gave him one thing. You did not take him from the problem that man is living under. And if we give them housing and we're not preparing them to go into that housing and go back into society and be someone that's going to be fruitful in society, then all you're doing is just throwing money to the problem. And we need to stop disappearing money just being thrown at the problem and enabling a lot of the homelessness problems to continue. And some of the money is being lost. Not lost just on the waste. That's one of the losses. But in California, there was money missing, billions of dollars that people can't account for. And no one cares. We just next year do another $1 billion budget and throw that out there. Have some contractors get paid and disappear. And this is what's happening. It's an industry. It's not going to change overnight because it's just been too long and too many people are benefiting from the industry. And it's not their fault. I mean, there was an opportunity to help. People have been helping, but we're not solving And this is just one of my ideas on how we can probably solve it. If you have any ideas, leave them in the comments. Maybe we have all thought about different ideas that we just haven't talked to each other about. So leave them in the comments. Let's start discussions. Um, Anything from point A to point Z. What would you do? So let's stop talking about the problem. We know there's a problem. That's not like, oh, what, there's homeless. That's not the issue. Let's talk solutions. And if all of us come collectively and start discussing solutions, some of them are not going to work, some of them will work, some of them are going to be blended with this one and come up with a new concept. That's where we start. And then when we get solutions that are feasible, then we get people in government and law enforcement and everybody to start implementing these solutions. And the people that are homeless, they're going to thank us for it. Maybe not in the beginning, but at one point, when we turn the society around, if that's even possible, I believe it is. If we turn society around, we're gonna be, they're gonna thank us. You're like, man, wow, we were in a hole, and our kids and our next generations were going down that hole. And as a collective, we were able to spark ideas and change things, change the perspective of things. So it's kind of like turning the light on. Before electricity, no one knew what that was, and someone's said, "Hey, we have electricity. Let's turn this light on. Oh, look, I can see at night." And now it's just normal. But I'm sure when people first saw that light at night, they was like, "What kind of magic is this?" It has to start with that dream big concept, and we have to dream big, not just in the personal level, how we get more wealth and how we become better ourselves, but we need to dream big on solutions to problems that are affecting us right this moment. Because if you think this isn't affecting you, it's affecting you. And if you're waiting for for homeless people to be at your door for you to take action, it's already too late. So let's do something. Leave it in the comments any ideas you have, and we can all discuss it. So until next time, I'll be out. Peace.